Hello and welcome to episode 184 of the Perth to Paisley podcast, a podcast dedicated to Heart of Midlothian Football Club. The Jambos fell back to the bottom of the Scottish Premiership table thanks to a sole goal defeat to Kilmarnock at Rugby Park. Joining me, Adam Kennedy, to discuss the lacklustre loss in Ayrshire is Daniel McIver. McIver, are you dreading this as much as I am?
Yeah, it's going to be some laugh, isn't it? For those watching on YouTube, breaking out the tradition of Christmas jumpers because it's our last episode for Christmas and it's actually football themed. Fiorentina, linked to Hearts as well, technically, in the last few
Very
years.
nice.
So, big fan of that.
I missed what? What a time. But
That's
yeah,
the only positives, really.
you talking about this tradition that's not a tradition. I couldn't give two shits about
Yeah,
Christmas.
I always wear a Christmas jumper. Adam never does, and it's a thing.
Hearts could ruin Christmas and New Year with a massive game on Boxing Day that I'm really nervous about now. Um,
But we should address the elephant in the room that you're hosting again for a second week in a row because
yeah,
since
why is that,
Saturday,
Mr.
yeah,
McIver?
since Saturday, I've been dealing with either food poisoning or norovirus. We haven't quite got to the bottom of it. And I've had 90 in 4 days as we record this. And basically, yesterday, when I messaged Adam, who was incredibly kind, and I was like, I've watched the games, but I'm currently curled up in a ball on my bed and I'm not really able to offer in depth analysis and get a true or false question ready. So, are you able to host? And thankfully, Adam is lovely and said, yes, that is fine. So, that's why you've got Adam 2 weeks in a row hosting. I'm going to try and get through this without running away. But if there's edits, it's just because I've went and been sick. And it's maybe just at the thought of our performance at Rugby Park. But how are you?
I was going to say I feel like I've contracted many a virus. Having watched that on Sunday, that was wow.
Yeah.
Yikes! But did I even watch that? Did that game take place?
Well, that's the thing. I
Was that
don't know.
a hallucination or an optical illusion? What
Yeah.
happened?
Because I was feeling so rubbish. At least you all had to, you were all in fine health watching it. I was putting
Say
myself through
that.
that as much as you can
My
be.
my mental health took a
Yeah, that's
thumping.
fair. But yeah, it was just really bad. It was like the worst performance of the season by an absolute mile. So I can't wait to
And
speak about it in depth.
there's been many a contender for that award already.
Yeah, but I feel like
December.
this is the one where it's like, oh yeah,
Oh,
there's no positives.
I don't. I don't disagree. The only positive is that it's now out of the way, but
Yeah.
that's not really you
We're
can't
just
really
bad
use
against
that.
Killy.
I really I'm a deep burning hatred for Kilmarnock Football Club is steadily growing within
Is
me.
that just because you live in there?
No, it's just that I'm sick of them beating
That's
us at Tynecastle, beating us at Rugby Park. Their record against us is incredible.
yeah.
That dog shit pitch, the fact they don't even sell
Yeah.
out the bottom tier of the stand.
Some
That,
laugh, eh?
uh,
We also went to Denmark and got beat. But
yeah, we
that was
did.
less annoying because it
That
was
was
way
less
more
painful
expected.
because that was expected. And
Yeah.
let's be honest, they were just
Oh, clearly a
a,
Champions League team.
a cut or two above us, let's just
Yeah.
say. You mentioned the Dania Manqua derby.
Yep.
Neil Critchley naming three changes after Hearts beat Dundee 2-0 at Tynecastle in their last league match at home. Frankie Kent replaced Craig Halkett at the back. I then thought we'd never see Craig Halkett again, but lo and behold, the weekend, there he
The
is. He just
reverse.
pops up. And Blair Spittle was joined by Kenneth Vargas and Alan Forrest, who replaced Musa Drama and James Wilson in the starting 11 as part of the trio supporting Lauren Shanklin. That meant that Hearts lined up as follows. 4-2-3-1 formation, Craig Gordon in goal, back four of Daniel Ugoke, Frankie Kent, Kai Rolls, and James Luke Penrice. Cammy Devlin and Malachi Boateng sat in front of them. Vargas on the right, Forrest on the left, Spittle and Sport Shankland. Now, the three would obviously move. I just put them there because I don't really care. Thoughts with regard to that starting 11? Pretty much as strong as we could have hoped for,
Yeah.
worryingly.
Um, I was at work when it kicked off, so I didn't get back until 2 minutes before half time.
That would have been nice to come in
So
and
it
see
was.
that.
I
Yeah.
actually saw the better of the game because, by all accounts, in that first 10 minutes, it could have been 9-0. But I was I surprised? There was a part of me that was surprised that he went as full strength. I know the whole thing was if we got a point, that was it. But I kind of thought he would be like one eye on Kilmarnock. But then a lot of the players played both games. So I think he was just like, this is fine. Yeah, that's
Shankland
a
was
strong
obviously going to
list.
play because
Yeah,
of the suspension at the weekend. That was kind of the
definitely.
only one where you were like, yeah, okay, that selection's not justified, but that makes
Makes
sense because
sense.
he's not
Yeah.
going to be featured at the weekend.
Yeah. I was happy with it, but I was going into the game going, if we get beat less than 4 or 5-0, this is a good result. So I had literally no expectation going in.
No, I mean, I did say by a 2 goal margin, albeit I had us to score, but defensively, I was really encouraged.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know if that's just because they could have cranked it up a notch or two, and yeah, it
I
was.
don't know, like, they seemed to be going for it, but we were staying in it. Part of it is because Gordon's Gordon. It was just amazing, and like Penrice and Rolls make huge blocks and stuff
I,
like that.
I,
But
I was
generally,
going
we
to
were
say
solid
That was one of James Penrice's better performances,
this
and
week.
then and then you get to the weekend, it's like, oh, okay.
Listen, he's allowed
Um,
one bad game this
oh,
season.
absolutely, and we'll come to that, but. You're right, obviously. So what do you want to talk about? Just the second half? Because we're brushing
Yeah,
over this
sure.
anyway.
Yeah,
Kilmarnock's going to be the main talking point.
yeah.
They did have a couple opportunities first half. I mean, the best is kind of a barge from James Penrice that just knocks Mohamed El Yunusi out of the way, which I'm a huge fan of. Um, because Copenhagen huffed and puffed. They were by far the better team, let's be honest. But if you'd have offered us the chance to get to halftime goalless, I mean, we'd have
Yeah,
snapped your hand off for that.
definitely. And yeah, like it's the first time this season in Europe I felt like, oh yeah, we're playing a team that shouldn't really be in this competition. Like
No.
they just are above everybody in it. I think the only teams that they would be comparable to are like Chelsea and are Fiorentina in this one this year.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I was going to say I saw because they were like 5-0 up at half time or something like that.
There's a
Um,
point actually. Do you want to go over the favourites? Because I think Betis are also in this
yeah,
competition as
Betis
well.
are in this as well.
The Conference League. So Chelsea are odds-on favourites to win this.
Obviously, they could play their second string team and win it.
I know, but like, are they gonna? Surely they recall Cole, like, because you can submit the squad again for the knockouts. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So they're probably gonna bring Cole Palmer in and whoever else.
yeah,
Fiorentina second favourites 5-1.
yeah.
Betis at nines. Vitória de Guimarães, Portuguese,
All right, okay.
14-1. And then you've got Heidenheim, who of course we've played as well, 25-1. Rapid Vienna, the same price, and then Copenhagen as one of numerous teams on 33s alongside Ghent, Panathinaikos, Lugano, Legia Warsaw, and Jagiellonia Bialystok.
I guess the argument with Copenhagen is because they had such a bad start, so
Yeah,
their odds
it's
are
kind
going
of
to be
hanging
worse.
in the
Yeah.
balance or whatever, but this has
Um,
obviously aided their knockout chances.
but I just think they will go far unless they get Chelsea in the round of 16 kind of thing. Then that will displace them. But yeah, like I think there was a lot of encouraging things. I know a lot of people seem to kind of disagree with that, but I just felt even generally, it was like we're being at least solid. We're not really creating anything,
Okay, nothing. Absolutely
but
nothing.
but like considering where we are in the league, but even if we were like flying in the league, I would
Yeah,
expect us to get battered off them.
I mean, James Penrice, that kind of shot that's blocked onto the woodwork is just unbelievable
Yeah,
defending. The only negative from this first half was obviously the injury that Frankie Kent has picked up.
yeah.
Adam Forrester then coming on, Daniel Ugoki moving into the centre to partner Kai Rolls. And obviously, I thought then Craig Halkett was done, that we'd basically never see him again for, I don't know, 6 months or something. Um, Maybe try and get him back in the Premiership split, but who knows? So then when I see Frankie Kent go down, I'm then really worried, thinking the defensive cover or lack thereof could be exposed.
I'll be honest, as I say, because I was working, I hadn't seen the justification behind the team. So I just thought Halkett was being rested for the weekend. I didn't realise it was because he had a muscle injury. He's back. So I'll be honest, I never had that concern. I was just thinking, oh, it's okay. Halkett will come back in for the weekend. It's a bit annoying that he's in on a plastic pitch, but that then ended up just being the case. Obviously, Kent's probably out for the season. I felt that we needed a centre half in January anyway because I think all of them have been poor. So all
More
that
than
does
just
for
that.
me, yeah, all that does for me is just go, okay, we now just definitely need a centre half. So for me, it doesn't actually change a lot. And as I said last week, I trust Halkett this season on form more than I trust Kent on form. It's just whether or not Halkett can stay fit until we get
I,
another centre half.
that's what I was going to say. It's easy to say that given Craig Halkett's sample size is obviously much smaller than
Yeah,
Frankie Kent's
totally,
has been.
100%. Because otherwise we'd need to go in with Penrice, Rolls, Oyegoki, and Forrester with no cover for anybody if any of them get hurt, and that's not
Andres
fun.
Andres Salazar, SOS.
Yeah, but he's in the one position where we've got Penrice, where he's obviously not going to get rested. Salazar can't play in any other position.
Because James Penrice is the greatest player on
Yeah,
earth. Um, bar Sunday afternoon, but we'll come to it.
that's fine.
We got into halftime goalless, but it wasn't to be long before Copenhagen's persistent pressure eventually paid off. Our rear guard eventually breached. Within minutes of the restart, the ball falling kindly to Amin Shiaka after a goalmouth scramble from the aforementioned Mohamed El Younoussi's effort, allowing the Algerian to slot home the opener. A really disappointing goal to concede. But even watching that first half, you just felt as though this was going to be a case of when and not if.
Yeah, definitely. Gordon was like amazing in this half. Like he is the reason it was 1-0 in the 80th minute. But he just get like there's not much you can do here. It's just poor all round from us, and they take advantage of that.
You mentioned Craig Gordon, an incredible stop from Scotland's number one on 52 minutes to keep us in the game. Lauren Shankland had turned behind the Copenhagen free kick over his own crossbar, but from the resulting corner, I mean, how he gets to Thomas Delaney's header, it's pretty much close range. He just gets down, sticks a leg at it. I don't even know. Like, I don't want to discredit Craig Gordon here. Far from it. But is that just blindly putting something on it to hope that he gets something on it?
Maybe, but you could make the argument that that's all every reaction save is,
Yeah, yeah,
like in
I
the
guess so.
history of goalkeeping.
It's an unbelievable stop, regardless.
Yeah,
And then the fact that we somehow scramble it clear, I'm then thinking, you know, when you watch games and you think it's only 1-0 here, like
yeah, I know exactly.
we are like we
We need to
weren't
have
in
a
the game,
shot. Like,
but we were very much in the game, if
yeah,
that makes sense.
when
Like,
it's 1-0, you never know what can happen.
absolutely. And 8 minutes later, it looked as though Blair Spittle had headed onto the crossbar from a Hearts corner. Does in fact come off their Greek defender, Pantelis Hatsiadikis, as we
Yes.
go in search of an equaliser. But like these are the tiny factors that are basically determining games. That unbelievable stop from Craig Gordon means 10 times more if we go up and somehow equalise from what would have been pretty much our first
For
attack and first
sure.
shot on goal.
Yeah. It's just massive, and that's why it's like, listen, there's discussions about Gordon and Clark and what should happen, and it's like I feel like in the rankings of our issues right now,
Oh,
whether or not
that's
Craig Gordon plays is just not one of them.
it's bottom of the
Obviously,
priority pile right now.
yeah, Gordon can't then be held accountable for the most mental decision by a referee and VR team ever. But what can you do?
I mean, on 73 minutes, we see Yutaro Oda and James Wilson come on in place of Kenneth Vargas and Alan Forrest. That duo, my goodness gracious me.
They won the
There's
great,
in
weren't
a
they?
there's quiet and then there's just like outright silence. Like they did next to nothing. And I'm looking at Kenneth Vargas and thinking, Mister, I want to play at a higher level. here's a better caliber of opponent than you're used to coming up
I
against.
think he meant a Champions League level team, though.
No, but do you know what I mean? Like, this shows you just how far you've got to go. So, you coming out and saying this, obviously, with January around the corner, baffling, absolutely baffling. And Alan Forrest, who I I like,
So I
I
think he's a
do
very solid squad player.
I do think he does have something to offer.
Yeah.
However, recent performances would lead that theory to be a load of absolute baloney
He's
because
he's very much a confidence player
he's
who
so
goes
hot and
through.
cold.
Yeah, he's very much a winger. Like he goes through periods
Yes.
of doing well and goes through periods of
But
doing
he's the
poorly.
only recognised winger within this squad, really.
Yeah, Oda maybe.
Oda possibly, but again, like I mean, Oda's been seemingly coming back for ages. He does obviously come on here, but it's like I just feel like when was the
I think we'll
I
see
couldn't
Oda a
I
lot
couldn't have
this
told you
week.
Yutaro Oda's last game before that. I
No,
said I couldn't name his last start.
nah, definitely not. Um, I think yeah, like I will always say that there's context to it that we were just so ineffective as a forward line
Yeah, it
because we
didn't really
couldn't really
matter
get
who
the
was up
ball.
there.
Yeah, I think we could add anybody and we weren't really doing anything. But it just was so annoying that it was like, shit, right, okay, they're both coming off and have done nothing.
And we were somehow still in it until the Copenhagen killed the contest with just under a quarter of an hour remaining. The appropriately named Kevin Dix sends another long ball forward in search of the goal scorer Chiaka. The teenager is adjudged to have been brought down in the box by Craig Gordon after the referee initially signals for a Hearts free kick. Instead, points to the spot, incredibly, annoyingly, frustratingly, before the Indonesian fullback sends the keeper the wrong way. 2-0, good night Vienna, or in this case, 2-0, good night Copenhagen.
The worst pun you've ever done. That's not true. You've done many more worse.
Oh, far worse than that. Yeah, that was one of our better ones. It
Yeah,
doesn't,
true
it
to be
doesn't bode
honest.
well.
Just it's just not a penalty. It's just not a penalty. Gordon gets a touch on the ball and he can't then just disappear.
Any chance of us picking anything up in that game
Yeah.
just totally wiped out. And you're an advocate for VAR, but this
Yeah.
like there is no defending this decision,
No, of course not.
regardless of who makes it.
Yeah, like this isn't going to suddenly make me be against VR, but it is just like one of the most egregious examples of it being wrong.
Egregious, like it.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah,
I may
not
be
bad.
ill, but I've still got a thesaurus. It's fine.
So defeat in the Danny Manqua derby expected
And when you came out of
overall.
it, if you went in the game going, you'll get beat 2-0 in Copenhagen, I'll be like, that sounds like a no bad result.
That's what I was going to say. Expected, but encouraged,
Yeah.
perhaps,
Yeah. Encouraged is quite a good way of putting it.
until the weekend
Yeah,
came
that's all out
around.
the window now, but it's fine.
Before we chat about the defeat to Kilmarnock, which I really do not want to speak about whatsoever, we're going to go around the grounds. Only two Scottish Premiership sides out of action, what with this being League Cup final weekend. But the other three Scottish Premiership matches took place on Saturday. We're going to start at Easter Road, where it looked great after 10 minutes as the Staggies took a lead, or took the lead, I should say, in Edinburgh against Hibs, who pegged one back just before half time and then left it late to beat County. A 7-goal thriller took place at Fir Park as Motherwell's excellent recent record against Dundee United continues. They get the better of the Terrors 4-3. And St Johnstone, St Mirren, a battle of the Saints. 5 goals. I didn't know that these two teams could score 5 goals between them, but that was the case. As it looked as though it was destined for a 2-2 draw before the Buddies nipped it late on in Perth. What's that? 4, 8, 11, 14, 16 goals, Daniel McIver, in 3 games. Absolutely box office.
Yeah, pretty mad. Because I'm an idiot, a peak illness me peak being ill was about 3:30 to 5 on Saturday, and I had the bright idea of having the Hibs game on in the background as I was like dying. So I was, and it hit me ten
I get
minutes
the
before the
logic
end.
though, because you could potentially feel better at like
Yeah,
lots
because when
of
I turned it
booing and
on, it was 1-0 Ross County, and I was like, this is making it better. Hooray. And then I basically turned it on, and 5 minutes later, Dwight Gale scored, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. Um, yeah, that
so
was
did you
bad.
keep it on for the second half? Because I had just
Yeah,
switched over then.
I did for some reason. And then
I
when they
just flicked
scored their
over.
second, I went, right, fuck this. I'm not watching this anymore. I can see the writing on the wall here. And then I put it over the Newcastle game, who were smashing it, and I was loving life. So
That's nice.
there was at least that one salvage thing for me. That was just bad. So boo to that. I still can't work out if Dundee United are good. I don't want to say it every single week, but every single time it gets to a point where I'm like,
These are the two teams where you're trying to
yeah.
gauge.
Every time it's got to a point where I'm like, I think I've sussed them now. They just completely have a random result where I'm like, back to square one. No idea if they're good. Fair play, Motherwell, who just apparently just like winning games right at the very end.
Like beating Dundee United as well.
Yeah,
I mean, I think they've won both league meetings and they beat them in the League Cup.
I think
So
so, yeah. And then, thankfully for us, St Mirren beat St Johnstone.
thanks, St Mirren, for finally doing us a favour.
Yeah, exactly. It's taken decades, but I'll take it.
Mind
So
you,
yeah,
they did beat Hibs at Easter Road as well. They've
true.
been trying their best for us,
They have
and
been.
obviously lost us at Tynecastle. So
Yeah,
they really
they've
have
turned
been
it
trying.
else going.
They've been trying to make us ascend up this
Yeah.
league table, but it's just not happening.
No, it's not. But yeah, so a very busy Saturday.
Sunday, did you watch the League Cup final at all?
I didn't watch it, but I've seen the Premier Sports highlights package of the 7 minutes.
What an incredible game!
Mad. I saw it at 1-0, and then it felt like I was watching our game. And
I should have just patched our game for
yeah,
that.
I know. And then by the time it got to our game full time, I was like, it's 3-3 and into extra time. What has happened? Obviously, we're here recording this on Tuesday. This goes out on Wednesday. I imagine we're still discussing the Rangers penalty
Oh my
decisions
God.
and
We were discussing that till the 2nd of January when they beat at Ibrox.
exactly. But I'm surprised by the result, and not the final result in terms of Celtic winning, but I'm surprised at how the game went. I thought Celtic were going to comfortably win. Yeah. I will be honest, I would be quite aggrieved about the whole Kasper Schmeichel in the box stuff. I would be pretty pissed off at that if that happened to me. But it happened to Rangers, so it's funny. So therefore, I don't care.
That is comfortably the worst way to lose a final as well, though, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean that I still feel sick about the COVID Cup final.
It's the one game I can never go back and watch.
No, horrible.
And now
And another game
adding
that
to
you won't
this
be rushing
list,
back to watch.
exactly.
Yeah, it took place on Sunday. We go from Copenhagen to Kilmarnock, two very similar places, two very cold places,
Yeah.
and two pretty pish Hearts performances. Neil Critchley naming two changes after we lost the Danny Manqua derby. Fit again, Craig Halkett. I'm as astonished as anybody. Replaced Frankie Kent in a like-for-like change at the back. And the only other alteration saw our suspended skipper Lauren Shanklin drop out. Musa Drama coming in to replace him. On the right-hand side, I think maybe Vargas nipping out there and Drama going up front.
That's what I thought.
To be honest, we didn't really do much, so I don't really care how they lined up.
What are we going to speak about with this? What the fuck are we meant to talk about? We didn't do anything. There was a red card and a goal, and then nothing happened for 70 minutes.
This was really bad. Really, really bad. It's comfortably the worst performance of the season.
Yeah, definitely.
How far back would you go to find a Hearts performance as bad as this?
I'm really rubbish at remembering games. So Brora is obviously one that jumps out. But
even then, I feel like this is going to sound really silly. I feel like Brora were fortunate to beat us in that we did enough to win the game, just didn't finish our chances.
Yeah,
Brora
is a fucking
nothing here.
Brora is its own little universe.
Yeah,
in terms of how it's untouchable in terms of Hearts' feet. I saw somebody say, my mate said that it reminded them of the Livingston game. Um,
Not a
but
bad shout.
in the last
That is a
couple
good
of
one.
years, I feel like we've
But
come
then there
onto
would have
this
been something
show.
more recently,
That's what I
like in
mean.
1920.
I
Yeah.
feel like we've
Because
come
what
onto
was
this
that? Was
show.
that 1819?
Did you make the argument?
Under
Did you make the
Levine the
argument
season prior?
St Mirren because it's like it meant so much and we offered nothing
The Ibiza
before
one.
COVID? Yeah. Did you say
It's not a bad
that?
shout.
Like, but I feel like in the last couple of seasons we've come on here and been like, that
Hamilton
was
Accies
horrific.
in the relegation season could have beat them at
Yeah.
Tynecastle. I think we were 2-0
I
down in
was
like a
at that
quarter of an
game.
hour.
Yeah, and then they got a red card and Connor Washington
I was in
scored.
Barcelona watching
I was
Lionel
there.
Messi just tearing it up. Like, and then obviously getting the updates, and it somewhat ruined my Barcelona experience.
I was
That and the fact that Messi bagged a hat trick the week later, so that was fantastic.
I was in the
Flew all that way,
Roseburn.
but I watched the goat, so all's well in the world.
I was in the Roseburn for some reason for that game. I don't even know why. I was right up the back of the Roseburn. And just that, off the top of my head, it probably is that Hamilton game. Because I was like, listen, I imagine we'll talk about it, comparisons to that season. A lot of the times that season, I was like, oh, wait, I've actually thought of one, but I don't know if
Go
the
on.
Hamilton game came after it. We got beat Killy off home and we're 3-0 down the first half. And Halkett, it's that clip where Halkett shouts, stay in your goal, stay in your fucking goal at Joe Pereira.
Yeah, I was there. I was there. But that was a midweek, was it not?
That wasn't it. It was just me and my
Yeah, I was
dad.
there
I
that night.
remember being
I
there.
went with the old man as well.
Yeah, I remember
I,
laughing when we conceded the third goal. But I think Hamilton was after it because I think Hamilton was like one of the final games.
yeah. Definitely
One
have
of
to go
those
back to
two.
that season,
Yeah.
and it does feel like there are kind of parallels, but also ways in which they differ.
See, so that's what I was going to say, sorry. I still maintain I don't see parallels. Apart from like the physical aspect that we're physically 12th. But like I've seen so much from Neil Critchley's squad that makes me go, oh yeah, when this clicks or when he gets to January and gets 3 players in and yeah, we'll be fine.
Do you think we only need 3?
No, I think we need either 6 or 7. I think we need to make 6 or 7 signings.
Are we?
I think we need to make at least 5 signings, personally. I think we need to do that.
That's never going to happen. So
I think it could.
So hold on a second. Hold on. Let's before we get into this.
Yeah.
You believe we're going to be fine?
Yeah, I don't believe we're going to be good, but I think we're going to finish like 10th.
I'm growing increasingly concerned after this. But you think we're going to be fine, yet we need 5 bodies.
Yeah, but I mean by fine, what I mean is not get relegated. I don't mean good or successful. I've seen some people suggest it's like, oh, and I take this initial point where it's like, if we win 2 games, we're nearly in the top 6. Now,
Which is mental, by the way. That is insane.
The reason I would push that point is to show why I don't think we're going to get relegated because of how the entirety of the bottom 6 are. If we win this weekend,
we've also won 3 of 17 as it stands.
True, but my point on that was going to be...
So we'd be essentially doubling our tally.
True, but of the 17, 9 have been away from home, and 3 of the home games have been against Celtic, Rangers and a high-flying Aberdeen. We've played 5 out of 17 games at home in games that I think we should win. Our second half of the fixtures are where we're at home to the majority of the week, where we should theoretically pick up our points. Now...
Theoretically being the
Theoretically,
keyword there.
yeah, totally. But it's also the boring reason I don't think Hibs are going to get relegated, where I just think both Edinburgh clubs will throw money at it in January and just go... And as I say, I think there needs to be a clear divide in what I'm saying. I'm not saying we're going to have a successful season. I do not think we're going to then get, like, don't worry, guys, we're going to get top 6.
You think we're going to do enough to steer away?
Yeah, I think we're going to do what Aberdeen did last season. Where at this point last season, everybody was going, it's happening, Aberdeen are going to get relegated. But then in January, they had the situation that Hibs might be in, where it's like they sack their manager and then kind of took a wee step back and went, right, let's just go right back to basics. Not do anything stupid, make a couple of signings. And then they ended up finishing, what, did they finish 7th?
So hold on. So both clubs have appointed a Neil. They went for Warnock, and they've gone for Critchley.
Yeah. No, but My point, I'm not comparing Critchley to Warnock. My point is that I'm like,
I know you're not. I've only played.
I forgot about that. I've forgotten that Warnock managed Aberdeen last season. That is mad. Um, yeah, my point is, I just think Hearts and Hibs will go, right, we can't get
They did finish
relegated.
seventh, Hibs eighth.
Yeah, yeah. We can't get relegated. So let's just throw, even if we threw like nearly 500,000 at it in January, it's like, very bluntly, on the face of it, you should say Ross County and St Johnstone can't keep up with that. So that
Let's
should be
throw
enough
money at
anyway.
Ronan Hale and Ross County
Yeah,
will be the
exactly.
ones for the drop. That's
Um,
my. I'm happy with that. Don't give a bollocks whether the analytics deem him a successful signing or
suitable.
not. Just do it. So, in your mind, we need a centre half,
Two
right back,
strikers,
right back probably.
probably, yeah.
Two
But
strikers
but I
is
don't think they will if the rumours are that Taylor's probably going to be back by like
right. Okay,
February.
okay. So right back we can park for now. A centre back, two strikers.
A wide
Needs
player.
need pay at least
Yeah.
one. I'm looking for two, but at
I
least
would
one.
agree. Yeah, I would agree with that. I would say that those would be my lot. That would be my
So
five or
that would
six.
be your 5/6.
Yeah, definitely. And
Oh,
like
we're just not signing them, are we?
again though, the other 2 points are one, in 1920, that season, very early on, when we got beat off St Johnstone mind against Levine, that was his last game. The 1-0, Berra
That
own
was
goal.
prior to Halloween. I think it was the
Yeah,
day before
yeah.
Halloween.
At that point, I remember thinking to myself, I think we're the worst team in this league. And that's when alarm bells started going. Because I was like, there's like Hamilton and Livingston and St Johnstone in this league, and I think we're the worst team in this league. There has never been a period yet, even after the weekend, where I went, we're the worst team in this league. We might be one of them, and I think we are, but I think there is at least three teams as bad as us, and I think there's arguably the entirety of the bottom six are reasonably interchangeable. I
Who
imagine everybody in the bottom six could go on runs and positively and negatively.
who are your three? Because I'm only making a case for, and this is a stretch. Particularly ahead of the weekend, I'm bound to jinx things here. St Johnston and Ross County are the only two that I
I
can
would say
see.
also Hibs.
You think we're better than Hibs?
I think we're of almost identical quality Hibs. Genuinely, I think we are like both Edinburgh clubs are like massively alike right now. But yeah, St Johnstone and Ross County are the other two that I'm like, yeah, you're as bad as us.
I was going to say that the difference between us now and 1920 is probably opposite ends of the park, whereby
Probably.
1920 we
Yeah.
were leaking goals for fun with some honking goalkeepers,
Yeah.
whereas I feel like defensively, yeah, we've been shit. We've not been as good as we were last year, but I really do worry about us offensively
But
because
that's what
if
I mean,
Shankar
right?
doesn't score, we are in deep, deep doo-doo. There is nobody out with him, and even this season, it's a stretch that I can confidently hang my hat on and say he'll keep us in this division with the goals that he'll score.
But wouldn't remember three seasons ago when it was like, oh, the wheels are maybe starting to come off here. We need somebody who can score goals, and we went and got Ellis Sims. And it's like,
Yeah,
oh, I did that,
fair
and
point.
then it's a very different
That was again
situation.
because we only had Liam Boyce up front
Yeah, yeah,
that
exactly.
season.
Yeah, 100%. And the reason, what my point generally is here is that I'm like, I'm
Remember
not.
our man Nanduli? Sorry.
Yes, I do. Won me £70 on his debut, of course I do. Um, I'm
Remember he was there. Jesus.
I'm not in like fury panic stations because of how close the table is. As I say, if we win at the weekend, we could go to eighth. Like, I'm not
I mean
saying we will
that
win
should
at the
be enough of an
weekend.
incentive to get your arse in gear and just
Yeah.
get us away from this hellhole.
Because,
This
like,
would be inexcusable.
I think there's equal chance we could go into New Year having lost the three league games and folk then going, right, this is an absolute nightmare, disaster, relegation battle. But I think there's an equal chance that we win the three league games and then you're like, oh, we're 5 points off fifth kind of thing. Like, I just feel like right now is too early to panic personally. I know a lot of people disagree with that.
I'm panicking. I'm panicking now after that. What's mental is and I put this on Twitter, Hearts have lost as many league games this season as we did the entirety of last season.
I didn't
That
know
to
that.
me is
That is interesting.
wild. That just speaks volumes about how far we have fallen. And yes, the more that time goes on, you realise just how good Lauren Shanklin was last year.
Yeah.
Fully deserving of the PFA award, carried us pretty much single-handedly to third place. But again, it's no surprise that his form has dropped off. As a result, our form has dropped off. I worry that with the little duration that he's got left on his deal, if his head is turned in January, will the two then co-align again? That's a big worry for me. And yes, we've spoken about our want for a centre forward, ideally two in this window. But if we don't land them and this Shanklin rebirth doesn't happen, you can forget it as far as
I
I'm
will
concerned.
say, and I know this, I would say about 70% of the reason I'm not as panicked as I normally would be is because of the Jamestown Analytics link. Because I am kind of the opinion that it's like, whatever happens, we're going to be fine with them with us. Like,
It,
and I mean this in a longer term thing. Well, I don't
even
know if
despite
you.
the politics that are like currently arising, when it's like Tony Bloom's displayed his interest, there is some skepticism. It's not everybody's welcoming this with open arms. Like they are at the thought of Hearts becoming successful, but there is still a tiny ounce of skepticism amongst
That's
some with
healthy,
regards
though.
to
That
yeah.
is healthy. You shouldn't just go into it thinking we're now going to do amazing stuff like that. But I would say you can also then just look at the data and go, well, this guy and his team and his algorithm and analytics have been proven everywhere they've gone. And I don't even mean that in being like, in 18 months, I want us second. I mean, in 18 months, I want us clearly on the path to third. Or in 3 years, have got third a couple of years in a row. And it's because of guys that they've brought in.
That's what I was going to say. Imagine if we hadn't bottled third to Aberdeen the season before last,
Yeah,
and we did like three consecutive third place, three consecutive seasons would have just
yeah.
been the
And
perfect way to enter this, despite us currently languishing how we're languishing at the minute.
another big aspect of is how quickly not only football changes, but Scottish football changes. Like, as I just said,
Totally.
think back to this time last year when Aberdeen were where we are and we were where Aberdeen are. And it's like no one at that point would have said, oh, by the way, in a year's time, they'll be literally in each other's positions. So that's why,
Is the Scottish top tier the only league in Europe
yeah,
that's like this, by the way?
probably.
How
Um,
bad.
that's
Literally
why
finishing third is probably the worst thing that you could
that you
ever
could do,
do.
exactly. That's why it's like, it's not like we're 5 points nailed to the bottom of the league. Like
Dundee United were the
everybody's
exact
been,
same.
yeah,
Do you remember when they beat AZ Alkmaar and everybody's going, oh my God, Dundee United were class last year. Definitely
exactly.
stapled, like nailed on to finish third or whatever this year. Having finished, I think, fourth to us the season before. Relegated. Like, what on earth is happening?
That's
This
why
is
it's like
obscene.
we are in a shit situation that is unacceptable. And this will probably then turn us back into the game because it's like, I don't know how to put it. I like a lot of this squad in terms of who they are, and I think I personally
I
I
will
like
when
a
they
lot.
start picking up some points.
I like a lot of them in terms of their character. I think they all come across as sound guys and they speak to the media well and stuff like that. But bluntly, this is now the same squad that is let down three managers, or is in the process of letting down their third manager. So,
With a few tweaks.
of course, and with highs within that, but the
Yeah.
same patterns are starting to show now. And what is going to end up happening is the fan base is going to be like basically all cards on the table. As long as we stay up, I want Critchley to stay. Like,
Oh, 100%. I like even this post-match interview, I've got Neil Critchley's quotes. But this to me, like to me, you know that I've always taken what managers say literally. Perhaps it's a problem, but I like to hear what a manager does say because I want to see if I can get on board with them or agree with their viewpoint. I could not be in any more agreement with Neil Critchley
Yeah,
after
exactly.
his assessment of the weekend because that was, with all due respect, pathetic, embarrassing, and I can back that because he's as frustrated as I am, as you are,
Yeah.
as our listeners are or will be. Like this, basically, he identifies the problems here. He's going to try his absolute damnedest to rectify it. This could all be, nonsense within a few weeks. It could, or our worries could have heightened. I, I'm fully on board with Neil Critchley.
Yeah.
I think this squad needs surgery, and I think it's also harsh. Yes, we've brought him in to try and get a tune that Stephen Naismith couldn't out of the team. He's done that in some games, but he hasn't had a signing of his own yet. I think it's incredibly harsh, like you say, given the squad have let down a couple managers to judge him without him even making a signing yet as Heart Midlothian first team manager. I think it's nonsense. I think he deserves time. I just hope that he justifies us giving the time to ultimately gut out the shite, bring in a few of his own, and let's just forget about this within a couple of months' time.
Fully agreed. That perfectly summarises my thoughts.
I feel a wee bit better after that. But
Good.
I think there'll be some that will expect me to come on ranting and raving. I can't be arsed, and
If
is the God's
if
honest
we're where
truth.
we are in February, we'll both be doing that.
I, you've actually you've you've not convinced me, but you've eased my fears, which is really annoying because I'm worried. I am worried.
My point
But
is, listen, I could
off the
be
back of
totally
this,
wrong, right?
I know, I know,
But
but
it's just that I feel like to go fully nuclear and like sack the board, sack the manager, get rid, play the B team for the
that's what
rest
we
of the
do.
season. It's like,
It's
yeah,
because we care. It's because we're one of the most passionate fan bases in this
but
country.
we're also one of the most, I don't even know the word. Irrational. Irrational is the word. We're
Yeah,
one of the most
that's good.
irrational fan bases in the world as well. Because 2 weeks ago, you would have seen folk guaranteed being like, Critchley's got us cooking, let's go, we're smashing it. And
Probably us
now
on the
we've
podcast.
probably us in the podcast. But like, and now that we've got beat, a week after we beat Dundee so comfortably at home, we've got beat away.
As comfortable could be.
Yeah,
Dundee were rubbish.
and listen, Kelly was our worst performance of the season. I am making no excuses for it. There's not a single player really that can hold their head up after that. Like it
I'd
was
argue Gordon with a couple decent
same.
saves.
So would I, but that's just because I will never criticize Craig Gordon in my life.
I know you won't, because
Um,
you're sad act.
I adore that man with all my heart. But what I'm not doing is going. So therefore, this it's let's just write the season off and we're getting relegated. Like if we win at the weekend, we go eighth. Now, as I say, if the next time we come
I
back,
said that heading into this weekend.
now if we come back next week and we've lost
Oh,
all 3 games, then it's like, yeah, you then need to contextualize that and go, right, what does that mean for the table? What does that mean for the window? What does that mean for the season generally? But and I don't want it to come across that I'm like, I'm smarter than everybody. I just don't mean that. I mean, I'm just like, I do not have the fucking energy to pretend that I think sacking the board will make us suddenly go to top six.
my concerns are just like if we touch on the key instances here at Kilmarnock.
2 of them.
I no, because do you know what it was? I agree with the manager when he said that he thought that we started quite brightly. So
We
did
did.
I. I mean,
Yeah, we
we
did.
hit the post
Yeah.
inside 2 minutes.
Alex
Craig
goes for
Halkett
it.
hitting the woodwork from a Blair Spittle corner. Just a few minutes later, in what was a crazy start for then a rotten game of football, Robbie Dees is initially booked after a naughty tackle on Kenneth Vargas. However, thankfully, VAR intervenes. The Kelly defender is shown a straight red card.
It's the
What do you make of
clearest
it?
red card you've ever seen. How is that given as a yellow in real time?
Baffling.
Baffling.
I then thought that we were shooing. My missus was on FaceTime to our family, so I was watching the game on mute, and then I could kind of see her in the background or whatever, and then I'm trying to get her attention, being like, "We're down to 10,"
Amen.
I'm then going, "Yes, like here we go, we're in." Could not be any more wrong.
Now, in fairness, as I say, I was very ill.
7 red cards for
It's
Kilmarnock this season.
unbelievable. It's
The
unbelievable.
one team that you do not want to face going down to 10 men is Kilmarnock because they practice it every other fucking
Yeah,
week.
crazy.
So,
Nearly
yes,
half their
we
game
were
weeks.
absolutely dog shit against Kilmarnock. But the one exception I can make for this is the fact that 7 red cards in the middle of December is fucking wild.
Yeah, it's
It's
mad.
insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. I do love the idea that folk have tuned in to this episode and kind of expected like screaming, shouting, doomsdaying, and the main thing that's got us annoyed is Kelly's disciplinary record.
No, yeah, it's not like it's not like if you could choose a team to
Yeah,
not go down to 10 men,
you'd pick
it would be
Kelly
Killy
at home. You'd pick Kelly
on
at
that
Rugby Park.
dog shit pitch. And
Yeah,
yes, I will use that as an excuse here because I've got the permission to. Yeah, it's great when we go there and win on that dog shit Astro that should be nowhere near the top tier of any professional league. But I don't care. It's an additional factor. And another additional factor is sheer fucking stupidity. Because
make
James
the argument.
Penrice,
Make the argument the pitch contributes to this as well, though, because the ball just stops.
that's fine. That's fine. But my man has not put a foot wrong since he's walked through those doors. And yet, the one mistake that he's made ultimately proves pivotal here. Letting the ball bounce in the box is a crime, but sticking your foot up that high into Joe Wright's face as he tries to get on the end of a Lewis Mayo long ball, hits the deck, yellow card, penalty kick, and Bruce Anderson, who scores from the spot against Dundee United, like I referenced last podcast, is on penalty duty once again, slots down the middle, Craig Gordon diving to his right-hand side, 1-0 Kilmarnock, and you could have pretty much blown the full-time whistle there.
I mean, literally, what else is there for us to speak about? I'm not even being funny. I watched that game. I've watched the highlights back. There's nothing for us to speak about.
I'm amazed that they've even dragged out the
I
highlights. Do
couldn't
you remember
believe it.
when we used to slew Hearts TV for not having like a package over
Yeah,
like 5-6 minutes? They'd done well to get 2.5, 3 out this.
crazy.
Absolutely dog shit.
Yeah, it was just, and
They had
honestly,
the better chances, and
yeah,
they
they
had
did.
one less player on the park than we
Yeah, they
did.
did.
How can that make like? How does that happen?
Honestly, I would kind of just want to skip over to Critchley's comments because, in contrast to you, I'm someone who's become known for not caring what managers say because I often, and this has always been my point, often just think they say very interchangeable things. A lot of interviews you could just put without context and you wouldn't be able to tell what game they're talking about out with positivity or negativity. But especially when you watch his Hearts TV interview, you can see he is seething.
Oh,
like, and it's probably the most honest post-match interview we've had from negativity stand. Because if you've won, you're just like
it's
buzzing.
refreshing. I mean, we used to sugarcoat shite all the time.
I'm trying to remember
I think
the
we were really
last
good at
time. I'm trying
That's
to
one
remember
thing I will give the club credit for. They're fantastic at that.
yeah, which is a very good skill to have in football media communications.
Absolutely.
Which I don't need to tell you.
No, you do not.
I'm trying to remember the last time there was this like brutal post-match. Is it like Levine? I just go to Levine because he's an angry man.
Yeah, he's the candidate I've got in my head as well.
Because like it's not Nazy. Nazy never fucking said anything.
Ian Cathro at Wraith Rovers.
Aye, exactly.
How is it difficult? What's difficult?
That maybe is the answer, but for a different reason. Because it was like, yeah, that is clearly you. You are not putting a spin on this. You have no idea what I say. But yeah,
That is the answer.
so refreshing. I'm delighted to hear it.
As am I.
I think the way he's handled it is really good, and I do hope it's what he says. And he's like, "That's a line in the sand." And I do think on Sunday will have been the final nail in the coffin for some players under Neil Critchley, where he'll go, "I need to bring in boys in January because I can't rely on certain players." How does George Grant still keep getting on? I know it's not the fucking be all and end all of our situation, but it's
Do,
part of it.
do you know what speaks volumes about our performance? He was probably one of our better players when he came on. Like
I
it
can't
was that it
remember him
was
doing
that bad.
anything.
It was that bad. He looked semi good. Kai Rolls looked to play it from the back on 28 minutes. Liam Polworth picks it up, just slips in Marley Watkins behind the back line with ease. Again, decent stop from Gordon to keep Kilmarnock from
That is
doubling
a
their
good
advantage.
save. I was about to say, I was
It's a
like,
good
I do
save.
not remember this at all. But then I remember as soon as you said Watkins was played through, I was like, oh yeah.
Corey Ndaba tries to connect from a free kick that's launched into the Hearts area from pretty much on halfway. We attempt to launch a counter attack before Kelly intercept. Again, David Watson looks to feed in Marley Watkins. His effort pretty much straight at Gordon. I mean, half time, we had more chances against 11 men, one, than we did against 10 men. Zilch,
Yeah.
Nout, nada, hee haw, piss poor, pathetic.
And then we didn't do anything for the second half either. I'll be totally
Nope.
honest. I did have the excuse of vomiting, but I didn't watch the final 15 minutes.
Oh,
I was like,
I,
I just know we're not getting
I,
it.
I was vomiting. I felt disgusted, properly disgusted. I mean, I thought Kelly had gone to the good. Watkins pulls back for Liam Donnelly on 54 minutes. Cairo steers behind the Hearts goal. That was after David Watson was next to try his luck. Probably our best chance. Easy to pick when we've only had two. George Grant drives from deep, seeks out James Penrice on the left. Luke looks to play a 1-2 with Jan Danda off the bench. The fullback found by the substitute and looks to bend a right-footed effort at home. He forces a save from Kieran O'Hara, one of two that he made in 45 minutes after replacing Robbie McCrory at half-time, and Liam Boyce can't stab home the rebound. The other of his saves coming late on, George Grant nips in to find Jan Danda, who's fouled. He then is the one to take the free kick, falls for Craig Halkett, nods into the Kelly keeper's gloves, and then Jan Danda did his trademark cut in from the left-hand side on 93 minutes, bends his effort onto the crossbar, and that was it. Absolutely rank rotten. Full time in
Bad.
Ayrshire. We have contributed to half of Kilmarnock's Scottish Premiership victories this season.
That's
What
quite
a
funny.
fucking embarrassment that is. 75% possession, all far, no jobby. It's basically like having the ball for 68 minutes. If you actually break that down, 3/4 of the game, 68 minutes. And we had less shots on target than Kilmarnock did, who have got
See,
one man less than us.
this is why I enjoy doing this podcast because it now just makes the situation funny. I'm not
How
annoyed anymore. I just
how
find
can
it
you
funny.
dominate the ball for that long and not even remotely look like scoring?
Yeah. It actually takes quite a lot of talent to do that. It's hard to do that. So actually, maybe we're looking at this
We we've
the wrong
we've
way.
made, we've made that look phenomenal.
Yeah.
You could easily get a job for Hearts PR or the sugarcoat shite. But a man that did not sugarcoat shite was Neil Critchley, and I've got his comments here. I'm shocked, to be honest. I can't believe what's just happened. That surprised me, that level of performance. It didn't really for me, Neil, I'll be honest. I've not seen that in my time here at the football club. We were nowhere near good enough from start to finish. We actually started the game quite brightly. The game then changes on the sending off. So I thought too. We then, for the next 10 minutes, got caught in the emotion of the game. This is a cracker. We forgot to play football, made poor decisions with the ball, and made poor decisions off the ball. One of them has given away a penalty and cost us the game. James, I still love you. You've been
Oh
nothing
yeah, who
short of
gives a shit?
sensational. It could have been any one of your numpty teammates.
Yeah.
Then we've had ample time to get back into the game. Our quality, our decision making, our thought of what we were actually trying to do was miles away. We forgot where the goal is. I think we basically have done since August, mate. There's nothing really new there. This is spot on. We played into their hands. We played in front of them all the time. We kept saying, you have to ask questions of the defence. You've got to remember where the goal is. You've got to put the ball in and around the penalty area. We didn't. Nowhere near enough. When we did, we lacked quality. Our desire and will to put the ball in the goal. Everything about the performance today was miles away. We have to take responsibility for that performance. The supporters who have travelled today, I feel sorry for them. Quite rightly, they were booing at the end. I totally understand their anger and frustration because my blood's boiling as well, so we have to move on. We're going to need time to digest this game, reflect, and then we'll need to have an honest conversation, which some of the players are doing right now or were when I left the dressing room. And again, rightly so, because we didn't show enough personality, enough character, hunger, desire, drive, all those words. We were miles away. That's not acceptable for this football club, and that level of performance only leads to one thing.
As I say, I've kind of already explained my thoughts on it, but just it's very relieving to hear. And hopefully it is like the kick up the arse that we. I think this week of
We are in
fixtures
grave
ahead.
danger if this is not the kick up the arse that this team needs.
I think Thursday night's such a weird game. I know it's kind of jumping into.
No, let's just talk about it now because I think we've spoken enough about Kelly. 2 games at Tynecastle this week. It has to be 2 victories, or you will not see me on the podcast in our next episode. Thursday night sees us welcome CS Petrokub, I believe it's pronounced,
Yep.
in our final Europa Conference League phase match. Easy for me to say. St Johnstone on Sunday in the Scottish Premiership. What do you want to see happen besides Hearts win? What do you think will happen? What are your overriding thoughts heading into this duo/trio with a small matter of Hibs in the derby on Boxing Day at Tynecastle to potentially save/ruin Christmas?
I have no idea what to say about the derby because, as I say, I think we're both as bad as each other.
That's miles away. That's fine. We're not bothered about that. I say
Thursday
miles away.
night.
It's 9 days as we record.
Yeah.
When this comes out, it's a week. It's a week tomorrow. That's that can't happen.
Yeah.
That cannot be sneaking up on us already.
Thursday night. First of all, hopefully I'm feeling up to going because I really want to go.
I don't, but
I do because if we get a result, we get European groups knockout football for the first time in our lives. I want to be there for that. I don't really care behind the context of our league season, just as an isolated moment. I want to be able to say I was at that.
That's what I was going to say. Like we've had our fair share of embarrassing results over the years.
Yes, we have.
There is no embarrassing result as far as I'm concerned on Thursday. Either we win, and as you say, we secure that passage to a European knockout, which is really cool. Some prize money, TV money, dosh for the win, like all that. Or we're knocked out of Europe, can go week to week, and actually try and implement some form of strategy to hopefully
100%.
win games and pick up points in the Premiership. The way I'm viewing Thursday is a total win-win. Can I be arsed going? No. Will I back the team to the best of my ability upon me going? Yes. Do I want us to win? Of course I do. But if you offered me 3 points in either match, 100%, a million times over, I'm taking St Johnstone on Sunday. Don't care. You can fight amongst yourselves.
I really want us to. I think we're going to comfortably win on Thursday.
This is exactly the type of opponent that we underestimate, though, which is why I'm silently shitting myself.
I don't
They've
want
come in
the
from
squad
16 to 1 to 14 to 1 with the bookies. Now, that is a big price. For context, when we go to Glasgow, you're usually looking at 9s, 10s, possibly. So this would essentially be like, it would be like Stenhouse Muir coming to Tynecastle and beating us.
Yeah. I do just think we will. I think it will be quite anticlimactic in the sense that I just think we'll win. I hope I'm right. I very much hope I'm right, and I hope we win. In regards to St Johnstone, I also think we'll win. I think it will be tough. I think we'll win 3-0 on Thursday.
Oh, Thursday, right?
Yeah,
okay.
And I think we'll win 2-1 on Sunday.
Right.
But the bit you said, what do you want to see? The big thing I want to see, and I don't really mind in which game it is Macaulay Tate. That's what I want to see.
I like that from you.
I want to see that little robot just pass in forward directions unlike any other player we currently have in the middle of the park.
I'll be honest, a couple of weeks back I was saying Benny Beningame, Cammy Devlin, Malachi Boateng, three great options in the middle of the
They
park.
are.
Now I'm
But
like Macaulay Tate, come to me.
But the problem is, like, Benny, this is my issue with Benny. Your best ability is your availability, and I just don't trust him to play more than 10 games a season. So it's like, for me,
Neither does he.
he's not first choice for me. But obviously, in terms of ability, he is our best midfielder. That's not really a discussion. Who's having a discussion about that? But in terms of like people you need to have at the club and stuff like that, it's like, nah. That's not what we need. We need folk who are available week in, week out. I think even if you have a trio of Benny, of Macaulay, Malachi, and Cammy, that can work because Devlin's the energy in the middle running about. Malachi's winning the ball and just kind of keeping it going, and Tate's the person driving it forward.
And he's the future.
Yeah, exactly. And then you've got a front three of Shankland, Spittle, and whoever you want on the right-hand side.
I'd quite like to see Oda on Thursday. I think
yes,
Thursday's
that's a good shout. That's a good shout. I'd want that front six. I'd want a three of Tate, Devlin, and Boateng, and a front three of Spittle, Oda, and Shankland.
Vargas hasn't justified his selection. Forrest hasn't justified his selection. Oda's just coming back. You'd probably rather stick him in Thursday night when we're expected to get a result.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that we're guaranteed to get a result. But I'd rather give him the chance on Thursday than on Sunday against Saints.
100%. There's way less pressure on Thursday night for whoever gets involved.
Back four?
Just the same back four that started at Killie.
So you're going Halkett if available?
Yeah.
Okay. And who? Oyegoke.
Oyegoke, aye. Yeah.
Okay. Because obviously James Luke Penrice will. I love him still. I'm really gutted it was him at the weekend. Why couldn't it not have been Kai Rolls or somebody? I'm sorry, Kai. I've not really
What's your score predictions? 4-0 losses. Double-hander.
We don't score goals. Would this be the most anticlimactic victory of all time on Thursday night? What, 1-0 or something?
I'd fucking take. I don't care how we do it. I'd take anything because it's such a historic game.
I really don't know. Oh God. Let's go a boring 2-0 win on Thursday.
How would it be boring? That would be very exciting.
That's as optimistic as you're going to find me. It'll be Shankland with both, just like against Dundee, and if we're going to have a problem heading into the weekend because we will draw one each with St Johnstone. We'll be absolutely rubbish. Someday will bail us out after they inevitably go ahead through one of Mackenzie Kirk, Jason Holt, Nicky Clark, because his dad used to play for us, Dre Wright, because he's former Hibs. Some jobber will put them in front and we'll hopefully be salvaged, but I'll be very nervous if they take the lead. Please just get the first goal on Sunday and calm my fucking nerves because I cannot take this. This club are putting me through the ringer. Don't make me patch the derby on Boxing Day and the podcast that we were going to record sometime after Christmas. Because I'm fucking shitting myself. I'm really nervous.
I've actually
not for Thursday because there is no defeat, but for Sunday I will be. How can I be nervous heading into a game with St Johnstone? Is that the first time in human history that anybody has ever gone into a game against St Johnstone papping their pants?
Yeah, that's
unless it was Hibs in the cup final or Dundee United in the cup final.
Well, hey, like we might be bottom of the league, but we can still get digs in. It's fine.
I know, I've got a cheat coming out, I really do. The whole time I've been mouthing off to my work colleagues like, yeah, Hibs are shit. And then, of course, they leapfrog us at the weekend. So, fuck off. Hopefully we do on Sunday after they... they play Aberdeen, don't they?
Weekend. So it's like, Aberdeen, stop busting that bubble, mate. Get Jimmy to lead, I believe in you.
Can I just say, I'm looking at the fixture card. Who sanctioned Motherwell Kilmarnock on a Friday night?
Is that a thing?
7:45 kickoff.
Is that on Premier Sports?
Who's watching that? I think so. Yes, it is. Aberdeen Hibs on Saturday. Come on, the Dons!
Yeah, basically, we want Motherwell and Aberdeen to win, essentially.
Rangers Dundee on Saturday. If St
Andrew
Mirren
used to
could do
win.
us yet another favour and go to Dingwall and win, that would be
Yeah,
greatly appreciated.
that would be
Dundee
good.
United Celtic don't care. Would
Who
probably
gives a
back
shit?
United because it'd be
Yeah,
fun.
because it would be funny.
It'd be good fun. And then of course we play St Johnstone in the last game of the weekend. Oh, mammy daddy, that is really nerve-wracking. Oh God. Please. Please get the finger out. Don't like let us come into this next episode where we're eighth, seventh, looking up the way rather than looking at that bloody trap door. But before we go, the end is near quiz, which I've assembled
Well, I was going to
today
say, yeah,
after work.
you've got the biggest excuse ever that I threw this at you, and like I'm impressed you've even got a quiz.
As a result, I've been fairly horrible. I'm not gonna
All
lie.
right,
I'm not gonna lie.
I'm
Even with the who
ill, I'm
even with the who
poorly,
yeah.
and you
Well,
still just be like, "Nah, I'll kick you when you're down."
no, that's
I've been on a ridiculous run with the Who
yeah,
Am
you
I's
should have.
though.
I know you've done really well. I'll be very
That'll
invested to get
end
this one. Yeah.
today.
However, your first question. Hearts, as the club posted on their social media, play their 100th match in Europe on Thursday as we welcome Moldovan mob CS Petrocub to Gorgie. But how many of those continental fixtures have the Jambos won? Is it A, 20, B, 25, C, 30, or D, 35?
I think it's in the 20s, so I think it's either 20 or
Okay.
25. Do I think so? Basically, do I think we've won either a fifth or a quarter of our European games?
Yes.
We've
Hey,
got to.
you said you were shit at maths. That's not bad.
I can do primary two level
Nice, easy
subtraction.
round numbers. That's what it's
Yeah,
all about.
exactly. I'm gonna be optimistic and say we've won 25.
You actually should be even more optimistic.
Oh
We won
wow, really?
35, according to
Fucking
London
hell!
Hearts. I know, I didn't think it was that good
Why
either.
is everybody worried? We're
I,
class. It's fine.
let me just Google, has the club ever been relegated and won a European honour in the same
I
season?
promise you, I would take that. I would happily take that.
You'd never see me again if we won that conference. Like Sod, Ayr, and Morton and Airdrie, Dunfermline in the
Yeah,
Seaside League. No, I'd be out for a month.
yeah.
A genuine, like my notice would be handed in at work. I wouldn't even go into work to hand it in. I'd just
Yeah,
quit
it's just
over
like
the
this is
phone.
happening.
But I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
I'm getting steaming for a month straight in Edinburgh. Imagine that parade. Oh my
Uh,
God. Right. No, that's
Like, only you could spend the episode you've just spent being like, I think we're going to get relegated and I think we're in real trouble, to go, but I can't wait for the open top bus parade and the Conference Shield thing.
listen. When Tory starts coming in and chucking money about like it's a strip club, life will be great. I can assure you. I'm worried that I've asked this second question on a
Oh,
podcast previously. It's very Europe heavy. It's very London Hearts heavy. You can see where my Google history was this afternoon.
yeah.
1958-59 was the first season that Hearts played in Europe, participating in the 58-59 European Cup. But who won the tournament that season? Was A, Real Madrid, B, Besiktas, C, Juventus, or D, Manchester United?
I have no idea. Is there like a stat that Real Madrid are the first European Cup winners and then go on to just be the best in the tournament? I have absolutely no idea. I hope it's not Man United, so I'm going to go Real Madrid.
It is A, Real Madrid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Manchester United, young boys were who they played and they got given a bye because of the Munich air disaster.
Of course, that's what it was. Yeah.
So all four teams were involved in the tournament.
Yeah, but Real
So
Madrid
I
won.
just had to choose who were the four most likely to win, and somehow Besiktas got in there. There was some right shite in that tournament, as we
Imagine.
can certainly justify.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah. So there you go. Like, and to be fair, the logic is they've won it more than anybody. So
That genuinely was my only logic.
it makes sense. I don't even know if it was like which one of the how many times they won it? 14.
I was going to say 12, but I think you're right. I think it is 14 now.
I'm not Googling, I don't care.
It's between 12 and 14.
Yeah. Okay. Question number 3 is your true or false. CS Petrocub are a capital club, just like the famous Jam Tars.
I think that's false.
It is false.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think they're a capital team in Moldova.
They play in Hincesti, which is
Right?
one of 66 cities in Moldova, according to Google. How can Moldova have
What?
66 cities? Scotland
Wow.
has like eight,
Yeah,
nine.
that's mad.
Do you know what the capital of Moldova is? Out of interest.
Nah. Geography
No,
isn't my strong suit.
wouldn't have got it. Chisinau, apparently, is the capital.
Oh, the
Two,
famous.
two top tier clubs
Yeah.
called Zimbru, the mighty Zimbru, and Dacia Buisani. Aye.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. But yeah, 2 from 3. You've done all right here in the
I'm not
harsh
even at
quiz,
fighting fitness, and I'm still smashing it.
the harsh hearts quiz.
Yeah, exactly.
Question number 4. According to London Hearts, where I got most of this info, the Jambos will play a Moldovan team for the very first time. Hearts have now taken on teams in continental competition from how many European countries before? I will give you within 3, 4.
I'm not even getting options here. Oh
No,
my god.
no, because I thought, well,
18,
it,
21, 25. My actual guess was going to be 40, but I don't even think there is fucking 40. No, there is 40 European nations, yeah.
31. This will be our
All right.
32nd. But in fairness, like this is where the question's harsh as well because it's like Yugoslavia.
I was
They
just
count
about
as
to say
one.
that's what would
West
affect it.
Germany
Yeah,
counts as what? Yeah.
yeah,
So that was horrible. I'm sorry. I was under pressure. Okay,
that's
like
fine.
this.
I
I made
mean,
this
you could have
afternoon.
given me multiple choices of it, but I'll
I
let it
know,
slide.
but I know, but at least like the first one, it was round
Yeah,
numbers and it was
yeah, that's
nice.
fair.
Do you know what I mean? Like
I mean, I still
who's
got that in wrong, but
who's making up like A 23,
yeah.
B 27, C 31? Like it just makes no sense. You're who am I? You've done really well, much better than I thought. I thought this was going to be evil, and
My first
I'm a
ever
hor
zero. But no, it's still not happening.
I'm a horrible, horrible guy.
Yeah,
Um, you who am I? You ready for it? I'll be amazed if you get
go
this.
for it.
I came through the Hearts youth system after being released by Rangers. I made my debut for the Jambos in a cup defeat, with my league debut coming in a draw on Derby Day. I joined a divisional rival on loan, eventually signing a further twice for them on loan, before making my move there permanent after leaving HMFC. Adam saw me play at the weekend because I've played in the West of Scotland Premier Division for the past few years after slipping down and into the juniors. Who am I?
Initially, I was like, youth team, it's Neil Yanchuk. But I think we've done Neil Yanchuk. Um, God's
I'm going to check if
sake.
we have done Neil Janšek, actually. I feel like you've given me
I
Neil
think I
Janšek.
did give you a my. Um,
I
we're
don't see him
still
on the
playing.
list, right enough.
How have we not done Neil Yanchuk yet? Hey, it's the time of year for it. Way. um,
Just try to get this man's Wikipedia up.
we've
If maybe
done
Google Chrome will eventually load.
we've done Callum tapping.
Because
He plays
incredibly,
no
he is
worries.
on Wikipedia. This
Amazing.
man.
Oh, I cannot think of a single fucking player. Between what seasons did he play for Hearts?
Very nice. A McIver staple, that
Yeah.
one. Um, so 2014 to 2017.
What? Got someone in my head who it isn't because he
Okay.
currently plays in the pyramid, but I can't think of anybody else just now.
Who?
Question two. My right now, all that's in my head is Ali Roy, but I don't think Ali Roy came from Rangers, and he plays for Alloa, I think. Um.
Does he? Because he was at EK, wasn't he, Ali Roy? It's
Oh, well
not.
then maybe.
It's not Ali
Oh,
Roy. I'll tell
okay.
you that. I will be nice and give you that.
What's another question? 2014 to 17. So he signed the
Oh,
championship
he
season.
plays for a club that's close to both our hearts. Apparently, he plays for Stirling Albion.
Does he? Fair
Couldn't have
play.
told you that. But yeah, last season was at Alloa, you're right.
Yeah. Don't know why I know so many Ali Roy facts, but I do. Um, what's another question? So he joined us the season we started in the championship and was here for 3 years, but clearly just went on loan all the time. It's not Angus Beath because he retired. What's Rory Curry doing? But Rory Curry came through our youth team, like all the way. Might be Rory Curry because I don't care what he's doing.
He's a previous Who Am I?
Is he?
Rory
Oh,
Curry.
I think I did him.
157.
Right.
It's quite handy actually having the list rather than like just
Yeah.
flicking through these while you're asking away.
Yeah.
Some of the names on here. Good
Mad.
lord. Oh, some right pish.
What position did this man play as?
Jesus. It's bad that I couldn't even tell you.
This man exists.
According to Wikipedia, he's a forward. However, I'm pretty sure I saw him playing in midfield. Like he's just not a forward.
Don't know what that means.
He
I
plays in an
can't
attacking area. He's a midfielder, stroke winger, stroke forward. Mainly a midfielder.
cannot think of a single young. I'm just assuming he's Scottish because he came through Rangers and us.
He is.
Yeah,
He is. I will give you that.
I cannot think of anybody. Why is the name Fraser Elgin came into my head? Is that even a player we've had play for us?
Is that not a fan? I'm pretty sure I've seen Fraser Elgin tweet
Fraser
before.
Elgin maybe is a listener. Who knows?
If you're out there, Fraser, feel free to get in touch with the
Yeah,
podcast.
let us know.
We've just given you an unintentional shout out.
You know what? I can't think of anybody else. I'm going for the fan of Hearts, Fraser Elgin. Am I correct, Adam?
It's not Fraser Elgin.
I'm shocked.
Are you thinking of Fraser Mullen?
Nah, but I have now remembered that Fraser Mullen exists. Is it Fraser Mullen?
It's not Fraser
Because I was
Mullen.
going to say, if I've accidentally got the first right name, I would be livid.
I've just seen that Fraser Mullen does play in the West of Scotland Premier, though. He
Well,
plays for Johnston Borough, so he's a teammate of Kyle Lafferty's
brilliant.
after previously being at Pollock, Cowdenbeath, East Fife, Wraith Rovers, Hibs and Hearts. Fraser Mullen.
Amazing. He was
It's not
ginger,
Fraser
eh?
Mullen. Yes.
Yeah, that's all I
Uh,
remember about Fraser Mullen.
this man is post Fraser Mullen, who is 2012 to 13.
Who is it?
Any idea at all?
I think of like
I can't believe I'm
Scott
giving you a second or third chance of
Scott
this.
Adams. That's a Scottish name. We ever
It's
had
not
anybody called
Scott
that?
Adams, whoever he is.
Who is it?
No. It's Robbie Buchanan.
I have absolutely no memory of that name ever.
I recognised him. I recognised his face, and I said, "Is that?" And then
What?
I literally went on to check Cumnock's team, and there he was. I think he's their captain. Cumnock
Fair
Junior's
play to him.
captain.
I do apologise, Robbie, if you're listening, that I don't have
Um,
any memory of you, mate.
Still 28 years of age. Was at Pollock last year. Cowdenbeath was who we loaned him out to. As get this, he was loaned to
Same division.
He was loaned to fellow Scottish Championship team
Yeah.
Cowdenbeath on the 16th of January 2015. He returned to Cowdenbeath, now of Scottish League One, on the 7th of August. He joined Brecon on a 1-month emergency loan deal in a bid to strengthen their squad. On the 31st of January 2017, Buchanan joined Cowdenbeath for his third spell on loan at the Fife club, this time in Scottish League Two,
Yeah.
until the end of the season.
They just kept getting relegated. I forgot about
After
that.
leaving Hearts, Buchanan joined Cowdenbeath on the 3rd of July 2017 for his
In the
fourth
Lowland
spell at the
League?
club, this time on a permanent contract. He left the club at the end of the 2021-22 season
In the Lowland
following
League?
Cowdenbeath's relegation from the Football League.
Oh, so he
So he
didn't
basically-
actually play in the Lowland League.
He carried the Blue Brazils from the Championship to the Lowland League, basically left them there, plays in the West of Scotland now. Yeah, what a guy. And
Brilliant. Well,
so there you go.
what a shame. Well, let us know if you got Robert Buchanan and our thoughts generally on what we've spoken about in this episode. It's been A good one, I think. I think in terms of what people expected, it's maybe not been the
It's been
direction
a lot
they
calmer than
thought.
I expected
Yes,
from a personal
exactly.
perspective. So that is nice. I hope that this sort of mellowed look on things will stay until Thursday and or the weekend. It just definitely won't.
Yeah. If you have enjoyed it, please let us know on your podcast platform of choice. Please leave us a review. It massively helps. If you've been watching us on YouTube, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Perth to Paisley on all the socials. perthtopaisley@gmail.com if you want to fire us over an email. Adam, where can they get you on all the socials?
You can get me on all the socials sharing Cumnock's 3-1 defeat to St Cadoc's, which featured Robbie Buchanan as captain at Adam T. Kendall.
We will be back after the Christmas break. So enjoy Christmas, whatever you're doing, whoever you're spending it with. Hope you have a really, really good time. We don't know the exact date we'll be back yet, but it will be post Derby. So until then, we'll see you next time. Bye bye.